What is it?
Hello and welcome to The Essential Gamer. You're watching What Is It, the series where we tell you about games that you might not have known about. I'm Lee, and what it is this time is Tales of Iron 2. It's going to get chilly, because it's the Whiskers of Winter. So yes, Tales of Iron 2, the second of the Tales of Iron series, the Whiskers of Winter, takes you to the northern realms of Winterhold, where it's cold and the bats are bloody and the rats are getting their asses handed to them. If you played the first one, you might be forgiven for having a little bit of deja vu, because the second game in the series starts very similarly to the first. You play a young rat who is destined to take over his rat kingdom from his father, very much like the first game. I believe it's a father figure. Things don't necessarily go to plan. You get your beginning, you get barked out of bed in exactly the same fashion as you did in the first game. You go and do your tutorial stuff where you learn some of the new mechanics, you learn how to fight. The timing is a reminder, because the timing in this is so important at all times. You fight some stuff, you have some success, you feel like a man, you're a rat becoming a man rat. And then, well, things don't really go to plan as far as our main character's concerned. Stuff goes down while we're hoping to have a revelous, happy time. I mean, I don't think you're going to have a happy time in anything that is described as a Souls-like. It's not happy. Everything goes wrong. Everyone dies. It's all ruined. And yes, and very much like the first game, the combat is very similar. Those key timing moments are still there. You'll die, and then you'll fight some more and die, and then you'll probably die, and then after you've died, it's almost certain that you're going pretty much to die, and then when you do that, you'll die, and then after that, you'll die. So what you need to understand is that in this point in the game, you'll die. You're definitely going to die. But just like the first game, it's a fair learning curve. It's quite difficult to get your head around at first. There are timings. There's certain attacks that you can defend or you can battle through. There's some that you can parry and counter-attack, and there's others that you just have to dodge. And Tales of Iron wants you to press all the buttons, and it wants you to get real used to pressing those buttons really hard and fast, because it's brutal. In very much a Souls stereotype, the first boss is absolutely outrageous and will hand you your ass so many times, but it sets you up nicely for the rest of the game with the idea of what's going on. So, what's new? We know about what's in the game and what the previous one offered. Well, one of the things that's new is a grappling hook. And the grappling hook is not just there for show, oh no. Sometimes it's absolutely imperative to find the secrets. You have to traverse different parts of the levels. There's handy grappling hook grapple holes, but I'm not going to fuss too much about that. And other parts, it's imperative so that you can find different parts of the level and access different parts of the areas that you're in. It's a nice addition. It zips things around quite nicely. It makes some of the traversal a little bit quicker, and quite frankly, what isn't made better by adding a grappling hook? Also, I'm just going to take this moment to say that while some of the enemies and the things that you're doing may seem slightly familiar, the general environment design and backgrounds and just everything is so much better than the first game. It looks beautiful. That wonderful 2D art style is obviously back, but it's back with a bang. You've got dynamic backgrounds and foregrounds and things happening everywhere. There's always something to look at. There's a little detail here and there that you'll miss the first time and catch it the third or fourth time. There's moments of absolute tranquility and there's moments of absolute chaos. There's a day-night system now as well, which is very important. I'll get to that a little bit later. But that changes the environments that you're in and the things that you'll find in the environments. And it makes for a dynamic change. The weather changes, the daytimes change, the enemies are completely different this time round. They've got more ingenious designs and more ingenious locations that they fight you in, and It just all looks really rather wonderful. Odd Bug have outdone themselves this time round with how good everything looks and how jam-packed the environments are. At no point are your eyes bored. Your eyes can't get bored because there's either something tearing your throat out, shoving a stick up your ass, or there's something lovely in the background to look at. Perfect. There's a real push on the crafting this time round, so you can find materials out in the world, you can hack things to death and find them, you can dig stuff up, you can go mining, you can smash boxes, you can pick berries off trees, you can pretty much go anywhere and find something to craft with. And it's not a crafting system that comes naturally. You have to either purchase the items to take to someone to craft, or you have to purchase the crafted items outright. You have to make food, which will obviously give you a buff and up your health levels. You've got weapons and you've got armors and you've got all types of things. There's storefronts, wandering merchants all over the place to find, and they've all got their certain things. And you may have seen then there's some things like frost and electric and that kind of thing. And there's a real emphasis on elemental battling this time round. Certain weapons either buff or take away from those, and certain enemies, as you can see here in the bestiary, which is very handy, they have their strengths and weaknesses, which may be different elements, and different times of the day when you can find them. Sometimes the enemies aren't even there. You have to go out at night and find a certain thing to get a certain crafting material that you may need to make a certain thing. So much to do! And yes, there is so much to do. You will find all different enemy types, lots of new stuff. I mean, some of the things that you've seen before may seem a little samey at first, but the game does a really good job of really showing you that everything's been ramped up, from the executions to the type of enemies to the new friends you'll make and the side quests that just keep on coming, and they do keep on coming. You think there's going to be one or two, and there's a stork that's lost a fishing rod, there's a magpie that's lost her glasses, you've got to do stuff for the main quest. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, I've got a new companion for a minute. Oh, we're fighting a thing and the companion's gone now, and it just keeps happening. The game is more of everything that I liked about the first one and more on top of that, and I really don't think I could have asked for anything else. So Tales of Iron 2, The Whiskers of Winter, is a fantastic sequel. At first, it may seem like a bit of the same, but all it's doing, like it does all the way through, is a bit of a bait and switch where it's going to pull the rug out and give you loads more than you ever could have expected. If you like Souls games, if you like dungeon crawlers, side scrollers, if you like difficulty in fairness, I can't recommend The Whiskers of Winter more than enough. The crafting is the only thing that I say may feel a little bit redundant, because a lot of the rewards are better or equal to the thing that you can craft at that certain level. But as you go into the game, it does start to come into its own, and it makes sense, especially with the different elemental attacks and defenses. You'll play around with it a lot more in the later game than you will in the early game, and that's pretty much my only negative, is that the crafting doesn't make sense straight away. The drip feeding of elemental powers, you get magic that you can use as well against certain things, and you get equipment and traps and bombs, and it wants to keep giving. The game wants to give you more and more and more, and if you're willing, you can take it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, if it did anything for you, please do give us a thumbs up. I hope I've managed to talk you around to trying this game out at least. And if you didn't enjoy it, please tell me why in the comments. You could always subscribe if you enjoyed. I mean, if you didn't enjoy it, you're not going to subscribe. But if you write down there why you didn't like it, I'll don my little rat cap. I'll get my bow and my rat broadsword, and I'll go stand by the river and completely ignore your existence, because I don't really care. Anyway, until next time, keep gaming, game gamers gaming.